Sometimes there are instances when you may want to format the actual text within your spreadsheets just to make it a little more visible or give it a little bit more appeal, make it easier to read for whoever you're sharing it with. So the example I have here is a teacher's roster. They're tracking the assignments of their students. It's really simple. But you notice there's some formatting that kind of helps us out here. The top header here is all in bold. It's a little bigger. The left side here, the names are a little bigger than what they normally would come out as. The students in red only, they're missing 2 or more assignments, and the students in green, they have all their assignments in. So kind of just a silly example that illustrates some of the features that are in Google Sheets. Well, and I'm going to show you how to do some of that within Google Sheets. So here I have the same data, but you can see the difference here. It's a little more difficult to read, or maybe you could even suggest that it just is less presentable. It's less professional. It's just kind of bare. So if we want to adjust a few things, the first things we'll do is I'm going to take this top head, the header column here, or the header row, and I'm going to change it to bold and make my text bigger. So I did that using the bold and then the font size there. Now you'll notice that now my words, they extend past my cell limits. So one thing I can do is adjust the width of my cells. So that can be done by just grabbing the top right here, sliding it over. So now the whole word displays. So I can slide each of these over. Now, you'll notice my cells now, my columns are not necessarily the exact same distance. So something I like to do is I like to grab all the columns at once, which I have B selected. I'm going to hold Shift and click D, and that selects all the cells or all the columns from B to D. And now if I adjust any of these columns, you'll notice the other columns adjust with it, and now they're all the same size, so it looks good. I'll slide this one over here. Now the names still look a little bit small, so I'm going to make them a little bit bigger. I'm going to just drag and select those. I'll make them size 12. There we go. Okay, now some of the other things we had was, one, we removed these grid lines. Sometimes when you have these grid lines, it can be difficult to see. Now when you print a spreadsheet, these grid lines won't actually display. So if I were to actually print this spreadsheet, these grid lines that I've input manually, I'll show you how to do that in just a second, they would display, but even if I had those other grid lines in like this, these other grayed out grid lines, those would not display on a printed view. However, you're not always displaying something on a printed view. Sometimes you email it to someone and you want it to be easier for them to read. So you'll remove the grid lines. So you come up here to view and just check that grid lines. And now everything's removed, but we probably want to add our own grid lines in. So what I'm going to do is, if I select a range of cells here, I can use this border tool to add borders either all around. So this will add borders around every border of the cell. I can do it just to the top, to the middle. This doesn't really apply because I only have selected one row. Or I could just do a border around the selection. I'm going to select this bottom border, and then I'm going to change the weight of my line. Maybe I'll do a double line here. I kind of like that double line look. It's difficult to see. And then for my cells inside here, I'm going to select my range, and I'm going to select the middle line here. So now it's added a line in, but I want it to look different, so I'm going to change. So you can see now I have different lines there, and then maybe I want to add right in here. I'm going to add one more border on the right side. So now I have a pretty good looking sheet. Some of the other things I can do now, if I want to maybe adjust the color of my text, or maybe the style, I'm going to select these and change these to italics. I think that's how they are in the other version. So again, these buttons up here, they're really, It's pretty straightforward. If you don't know what those buttons are, you can hover and it will show you. The how to change the color, I just select a cell and then I can come up to this text color and then select whatever color I want. Okay, so I can adjust my colors that way. And then here, let's see, did we miss anything that we didn't hear? Oh, I did select a different font here, didn't I? So you could select these cells up here and actually change. I think I selected this one. All right. Oh, one trick that's really fancy that I didn't really show you. So you can manually adjust them like this, but one trick you can do is if you double click that, it will actually auto arrange them to basically the end of the text. So maybe I want mine a little bit more, so I'll select these and move it a little bit more. Now finally, one thing, I didn't do this on the other sheet, but maybe I will on this one. If I select these cells and change the location of where they are in the cells, now my X's appear right underneath the assignment, so it's kind of centered. So there's a lot you can do with formatting, and understanding the formatting can be helpful when you get into more advanced features like conditional formatting and things like that. Um, but that's how you do the basics of formatting with your cells.